On December 22, 1849, in Semenovsky Square, St. Petersburg, Russia. The biting winter wind howled as dark clouds cast a heavy shadow over the scene. A 28-year-old man was about to face his death that day. His crime? Opposing the Tsar, advocating for freedom and reform, and participating in revolutionary meetings steeped in socialist ideals. His life, as a condemned man, was now hurtling toward its final moments. Standing barefoot in the snow-covered square, the young man was on the gallows. His eyes stared unflinchingly at the inevitable fate that awaited him, yet inside, a tempest of emotions raged. The executioner approached, covered his eyes, and coldly announced, "You now have 5 minutes before your execution." 5 minutes, just 5 minutes until my life ends, he thought quietly. His mind was flooded with countless thoughts, a chaotic tangle of memories and regrets. In those fleeting moments, he reflected on his life. He thought of his beloved family, how much he missed them, and how dearly he wished he could see them once more. He thought of all the dreams and hopes he had cherished, the ideals he had pursued. But now, all of it felt utterly meaningless. 2 minutes have passed. The executioner's voice rang out. Time was slipping away rapidly. The young man's entire life flashed before his eyes. Is this really how my life ends, so futilely? The desire to live surged within him, crushing his heart with its overwhelming weight. He had fought for a better world, yet here he was, facing death on this gallows, the final outcome of his struggle. A fact that plunged him into deep despair. When the call came that only 1 minute remained, the condemned man lifted his head, as if to take in his surroundings one last time. The cold wind brushed against his face, and the freezing ground sent a chill through his feet. But he realized that soon, he wouldn't even be able to feel that. For the first time, he truly understood how beautiful and precious the world was. And the thought of saying goodbye to it forever brought him to silent tears. Across from him, soldiers were lining up to fire. The sound of their preparation already felt like bullets piercing his heart. He wanted to live, even if only for a few more moments. But despair enveloped him, as he knew everything was about to end. If only I could have just a few more minutes, he thought desperately. Then, suddenly, a soldier came running, waving a white cloth. "Stop! Halt the execution!" Just as the shots were about to be fired, a message arrived from the Tsar, ordering that the execution be replaced with exile. Tsar Nicholas I had orchestrated this ordeal to instill extreme fear in the prisoners, only to save them at the last moment, a twisted display of his power. The execution was stopped just in time. And the young man who narrowly escaped death was none other than Fyodor Dostoevsky, the great Russian writer. That night, after being spared from death, Dostoevsky wrote a letter to his brother, his heart filled with shock, joy, and deep remorse. "As I reflect on my past, my heart bleeds to think of all the mistakes and idle days wasted in laziness. Life is a gift from God, and every moment could have been a blessing to the soul. If only I had realized this earlier. But now, my life will be completely changed, and I will be reborn." After this event, Dostoevsky spent 4 years in exile in Siberia, which endowed his life with a new meaning. Despite the harsh cold, he kept his creative spirit alive. The experience on the gallows gave him profound insights into the meaning of human existence, sin, and redemption, which he later poured into his great literary works. His life became a reflection of those final 5 minutes on the gallows. For the rest of his life, he carried that moment with him, dedicating himself to his writing. Until his death in 1881, Dostoevsky produced masterpieces such as Crime and Punishment, The Brothers Karamazov, and The Possessed, exploring the complexities of human nature and moral conflict. Dostoevsky's story is more than just the tale of a man saved from death. It compels us to reconsider the value of life and reflect on the deep-seated issues of suffering and redemption within the human soul. His final 5 minutes continue to resonate today, offering a profound reflection on life through the great literary works he left behind.